What's up, y'all? You are listening to For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative M Projects. I'm your host, Melissa Sharee.
And I am your co-host, Mr. Eric Seats.
Now, if you're watching us, I just told the fellas we got all the boxes filled in today. Well, the Brady Bunch ain't got nothing on us. You know, they filled all the boxes. We filled our boxes too. So, hey. Right. Anyway, let me give an introduction because we have two amazing fellas. That's my word. All of our guests are amazing, Seats, right?
That's right.
Two amazing fellas they're not even on the West Coast though right now. They're on the East Coast. I don't know if y'all was trying to hide, but I just put you out there right now. We got DeCarlos and we got AD. But let me tell you about them. They have a podcast, so we might need to pick up some pointers from them.
Oh, we will. We do.
Their podcast is similar. Theirs is called For the Record. Ours is For the Artist. It's an outlet to not only express and discuss eclectic music interests, but also to educate others on diverse sounds and genres. Their mission is to dismantle, the status quo by exposing their listeners to a myriad of music, and hopefully that will unify the world. But we're unified today. AD is an aspiring model, an actor. He did a web series on YouTube called Reckless. You can tell us about that. And he was recently selected for a modeling troupe in the DMV area. Now, DeCarlos is in Nashville, Tennessee. I got to get there, y'all. I got to get there. Okay. He was part of the Nashville Noise podcast. So that's really your thing, DeCarlos podcast. He released a compilation album on Noise Trade Bandcamp in 2015 entitled Nirvana, inspired by Solange Knowles' compilation Saint Haran. And AD and Carlos, you can tell us about how you met, but y'all give it up for DeCarlos and AD.
Welcome, soldiers.
Woo! Come on, dance. I like the dance.
So how did y'all two connect? Because I know you told me a little bit in your bio, but I'm gonna let y'all tell us how y'all connected.
Man,
okay, do you want to go? Okay,
I will. It was kind of wild, man. We actually met in a music group me. And so it was so funny. The music group me, it actually encompassed like very different type of people who all had an interest in music, whether they were songwriters, they could have been someone like DeCarlos who, had created a compilation album, and just a lot of different voices that we would discuss different kind of politics of music, if you want to say that.
Okay.
That's
dope.
Awesome. I was going to suggest you have a little hand right on your head, soldier. And I don't want that to be on your, you see it? You see the cursor?
Is it mine or AD?
Oh, it's on AD's.
It's a hand?
Yeah. Or am I the only one seeing it?
I see nothing.
Never mind. That was my fault. Moving right along. DeCarlos, welcome.
It was the hand of God on AD right there.
It's my own cursor on my own laptop. DeCarlos, your version of it.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. We were both in a music group. It was, I think, well over like 100 people in it, but it was like a certain amount that just kind of like spoke every day, and we, tripped out, talked about music, had musical debates, shared different music, playlists, things like that. And me and AD had mentioned it one day before. We kept in contact, and here we are. We started For the Record podcast earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I had the privilege of being a guest on their podcast maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago, and that was a blessing.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh no, and I appreciate you as well, soldier. And it was good to be able to return the favor in such a way of bringing you on and letting you share your story. We're very similar in many ways, soldier, because we both are into making compilations, and that alone, that mentality, and that wanting to display that diversity.
Right.
And even taking it further than just the music, but as far as getting on platforms such as this and podcasts, that's what we share. Hey, we have a lot in common like that in that way. And
yes,
so
sir.
it's a trip that I was able to, like, you need to be on my podcast too, right back with you, even though we both produce. What is your motivation, and when do you really consider yourself being started in this and in the whole, I guess the jump off?
So when I did the compilation album, basically, like I stated, it was inspired by Solange's compilation album, which was Saint Haran. And basically what she did is she basically had a lot of independent artists, some mainstream, and she basically put them on a compilation together and she released it. Probably one of the most beautiful pieces of work that I've heard. So many different like sounds and genres on it. So, you know, literally I woke up one day and decided that was something that I wanted to do. Got with a friend, went to a coffee shop, did a little brainstorming, and started like reaching out to like random artists on Twitter and Instagram, and you know, started getting songs in, and kind of went from there. And I kind of trickled down, got down to 18, and ended up releasing the project, man. So it was I did it because Solange putting those artists out made me realize there was so much talent out there that we don't get to hear. So I was like, you know, we need more artists to be heard. So that was my whole point of doing it.
That's so key to me, to be able to want to, you know, to not be hemmed up with just displaying one kind of, you know, idea that you have and things like that.
Right.
Only a thing, inviting a compilation to happen, that's already you appreciating a vast amount of quality that's out there, and you're not just promoting one. So, hey, kudos to you, Kat. I get it, because I do it as well. That's and it's helpful to know, especially in way more people than just yourself. You all are just feeding into each other's energy and zones, and that's what's necessary, man. The more legs something has, the more places it can end up. You know, I'm sure KD feels the same way. Yeah. I mean, I say KD, AD.
Oh, I was okay. Absolutely, man. I mean, it really was a privilege to be working with somebody like Los, man. I mean, he's a credit. No matter what he tells you, I mean, he got the credentials. So, I mean, just to actually be able to discuss, you know, music in the way that I do. I mean, like he's mentioned, it was over 100 people in the group. But I already knew Los was somebody who had like this keen ear, you know, for different genres and different artists. And I mean, that's such a major thing that we like to really kind of disseminate to our listeners. So absolutely.
What stood out to me about your mission, though, is the last piece where it talked about, you know, you guys wanting to unify the world. Can you speak to that? Because that's a heavy last little bit of it. It's like, we're going to do this, bring eclectic to the, oh, and by the way, we want to unify the world. So where does that come from? Tell us about that.
I had to cut on the light. This is a serious one. Okay.
Yes, I have been known to go there.
Yes. When we made that statement about unifying the world, you know, there are so many things that divide us. And especially in the time, you know, that we are in now, you know, we're seeing more and more divisive lines that are separating people more than unifying them. And one thing that is universal is music. Music has no gender. It has no race. It has no face. Music is for everyone. And we really like to have a platform where we can discuss different genres and different artists, to maybe possibly put someone onto an artist they may have never thought or never even heard of. And by that, this person could be connected to another person who likes that same band or that same sound. And so it really has allowed us to be able to speak to a lot of different artists and genres that we like. And hopefully it's something that will create a more unified world in our way of doing it.
Yes, I love that. DeCarlos, were you going to add to that before I go in?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just like, you know, me and AD happened to meet in a music group, and now we're actually working together with a podcast. You just never know. And like you said, music just kind of brings everyone together. You know, it's something that everyone loves. You may not love the same type of music or the same songs, but eventually it's going to start to bring people together. So that's most definitely 100% why we make that statement.
That's dope. There's something you just said, AD, and I was like, what did you say? You're like, you know, music doesn't know gender, it doesn't know race, you know. Just like it's just like us. I mean, man, when I say us, just in general, to just want to mess, you know, like we try to mess up music in a sense of like categorizing it. Because there was like one term that used to really bother me. It'd be like, well, that's black gospel. It's like, why does gospel have to be black, white, red, or the other? Because if you look at the definition of the gospel of itself, it's the good news. So why are you putting a color on it? I mean, I understand what people are saying in the sense that when we do things culturally, sometimes there might be some similarities in sound, but music is not doing that. We're doing that.
That's right.
You know,
we limit music. We limit creativity as a whole. I think it's inappropriate to I don't take surveys with my creativity. I don't go around and ask people what'd you think about this, because I don't. That's not fair to art. Art comes from the best art that touches us is the innocent display of it. That means I love when I can hear or see something and say, like, you know what, that person was expressing themselves, whether we were going to like it or not.
Right.
It's the stuff that leaves legacy. Because people can sense when you're hesitant in releasing your gift, because it's going to tell on itself. And there is no formula. That's my thing. It's no formula to this. So for me to even act like I have everything figured out in this, we only just getting started. I always say every day is another day to explore, man. I like that you gentlemen, I like how everything doesn't have to be so mechanical. And the way I meet a lot of my people, some of them I haven't even met yet, but I get a lot of good work done with perfect strangers, as long as that initial mentality is there. And I'm like, with the same goal is there, the drive is there to drive me. I'm like, all right. So, I'm like, y'all, I can relate to that in a lot of ways. But
absolutely.
What year did y'all get started together?
So the group me started, I think maybe in 2016. I can't remember exactly when AD came after me.
Maybe like 2019, maybe.
Okay, like 2019, yeah. And of course, like we added each other on social media. We talked on social media. We talked in the group, and then we started talking more heavy in the last year and decided, hey, we're gonna go ahead and go through with the podcast. So the podcast actually debuted March of this year.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. All right. So I would like to know how each of you individually got introduced to music. And by that, I mean, because obviously we're listening to music all the time, probably in the womb or whatever. But at what point did you guys really connect and be like, music, like I have to be in this lane. This is something that I have to do. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Go ahead.
So I tell people all the time, like growing up, my dad was a super music head. I kind of say I got it from him. My mom, she loves music. She's more like she likes the blues. And then she'll like, something else here and there. But my dad pretty much liked everything. So growing up, I heard all types of music. I am a huge Sharee fan, a huge Stevie Wonder fan. Those are two of my favorites. So, kind of like growing up, I grew up in West Tennessee, that's close to Memphis. So like growing up, 3 6 Mafia in Memphis, that was like huge for me. Absolutely love them. And I will say I started getting more into like R&B music. I will say when I first heard like Aaliyah's 1 in a Million and 112's debut album. I played the hell out of those. So those are like my favorites. With Aaliyah, the thing that with 1 in a Million, the sound was just completely different, something that we had never heard before, and it just had a hold on me. And I was a fan of hers previously, but with 1 in a Million again, it just was just completely different. Then we started getting into like more like neo soul. So you had Music Soul Child came out with his debut album, another one of my favorites. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that's one of my favorites. I feel like everyone loves that album. So it's kind of like, I don't know, like it's just always been there. So like those albums coming out, those are like huge for me. Even with Seats, and we talked about this on the podcast, like when Aaliyah released her third album, that whole like sound, even today, is still just like next level. So that was just like something like big for me. I've always liked different artists. Like, of course, I like, regular R&B, but, the alternative R&B or the neo soul side of R&B, those always kind of like just get me out the gate. So that's pretty much it. And I mean, it's just been a roller coaster from here. I pretty much love everybody. Maroon 5. I absolutely love Madonna.
Yeah.
The Beatles, Coldplay, like Missy Elliott, Boosie, Webby, like, whatever. Like, I pretty much listen to just about everything.
That's important too. It's important to that appreciation is clearly heard. And by the way, both of you gents got some awesome artwork behind you. Rest in peace, baby girl. Rest in peace, Prince. Those mules behind, that's some awesome artwork. We can't go without saying that, mentioning that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. But,
oh yeah. But that's awesome, man. I like this is a good one too.
AD, it's AD's turn. Did he leave anything?
Yeah.
I mean, did he leave anything for you to say?
You know what I'm saying? Like his musical journey was so different from mine. Because I was raised, I'm from Alabama, small town called Troy, Alabama. And with small towns come small minds and small perceptions. And I always knew I had this ear for something different. I didn't like everything that everybody else liked. And so growing up, I was raised by a single mother and I had 3 older sisters. So a lot of women were influenced in my life. When we were growing up, cleaning up the house on a Saturday, my mom clearly played out that Waiting to Exhale soundtrack every time. I know every song of everything on there. And so that in itself is a compilation and influenced so many. I mean, you had Patti LaBelle on there, you had Brandy, you had, of course, the great Whitney Houston, TLC, everybody was on that album. And so, that was my musical influence, but I knew growing up that I didn't necessarily want to listen to what we call just Black people music, right? And that's what was always so impressed upon me, is that I wasn't allowed to listen to, Evanescence, which is this really cool rock group, or, Blink 182. That's what I grew up on, like, watching MTV, just randomly throughout the day. And I would see different artists and I knew like I would gravitate more to like rock music and alternative music. But then I also still love ratchet music. Like, I'm like I said, I'm from down south. So, it was Yin Yang Twins all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Slip Inside Records with Trina and Master P. Like, I'm from the South. And so I've always loved those influences as well. But I always love to try to go out of the, specified area and really diversify my musical ear. And with that, I really found myself being able to talk and communicate with people that I normally wouldn't be able to talk and communicate with.
Right.
I had, friends that were growing up and they also liked that same band and they may have been white. And it just so happened that we both liked that band and it really allowed us to really connect. And so that's what really gave me that inspiration to even want to do this podcast, just because I've seen it actually being applied and how it can be beneficial. But yeah, growing up, I mean, my musical influences were all over the place. I remember, I was in the band growing up. I played the trumpet, but then I also played the xylophone when I was a kid. We had this musical group called Orff. And I remember one day, one of my classmates gave me Christina Aguilera CD because he didn't want it. It wasn't cool for us to listen to that anymore. So he gave it to me and I'm like, give me that. Like it's Christina Aguilera, of course. Right. And so it was a bop. Like, and that's what I just remember having, is just listening to those different influences. And I knew I was that person that liked to, if there was a song that was randomly on a TV show on reality TV, and it was an artist that wasn't as popular, but they gave the name after the show, I would go download the song. I still do that now. Or I'm the person who Shazam songs randomly if I hear them in the moment. Like that's me, because I love the sounds. And if I get lost in it, I'm like, this is it. I gotta have it. So yeah.
That's so awesome, man. And I like Melissa, you said it earlier too. It's almost like we limit we call it black and white. And I'm like, no, I hear music. I'm a musician. I'm a drummer. So it might not be popular in my household, but I can appreciate it's still quality and it's still something. And then when I really started getting into playing, and I'm like, oh, that's not that easy to play. And then so the appreciation stepped up to another level. So it's like, and a lot of times we say we don't like something because we can't do it. And I'm like, so don't let that be why you claim that you don't like it, because I feel like there's a time and place for everything. Because when I'm stuck in traffic, I don't want to hear what I'm going to dance to at a club or what I'm going to hear at church. There's a time, or if I'm in a Starbucks reading a book, there's a time and place for any kind of, when I'm in the elevator, I want to hear elevator music. It's appropriate. It's just appropriate. So being appropriate, because you can't like something and play that in every environment that you're in, then that might limit your environments. And then your mentality goes right down the hill with that.
Absolutely.
So because I love what music does for us a lot, especially when it's like food. When you leave the country and you taste the authenticity of whatever country you're in, you're in Italy, you haven't had wine until you've been there, or, you can taste the pasta in a different way. But that's what music does, man. It brings people together that normally would never have nothing to say to each other.
Right.
Music is probably music and food, I believe, are like the one things that ties, that, forces us into a same scenario to make us start,
Man, you made me think
At
of
least
this.
discussing it.
Sleep and using the bathroom because we all need, we all need that too. AD, I'm about
This
to
show is
come.
called For the Artist, not the.
Hey, artists are human beings, and we got to do all that.
Okay.
Hey, AD, though, I wanna come to you for a second because both of y'all seem pretty youthful. But I'm gonna say this in terms of there's a confidence. It's like y'all are you seem very confident in who you are, which
It's about what we're talking about. This subject matter, like I've been so just enthralled with music for so long, and that's what we kind of were discussing about the podcast. Like it's something I have this thirst and this knowledge for that makes me want to learn more. And then also, like you were saying, like it's about knowing yourself. There was a point in time where I felt like I had to be ashamed of the type of music I liked. I couldn't like Taylor Swift because I'm a black man. And that's what we, down south, like we can't do that. You can't listen to this person or that person. And if you listen to, ratchet rap music all the time, you're gonna be pretty angry. Like, what I'm saying? I can't listen to that all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I do love ratchet rap music. I do have ratchet rap artists that I love, but I can't listen to it all the time. I have to diversify my mind and be in different spaces. And so, yeah, it's really about knowing yourself.
Yeah, knowing yourself, and again, you have a confidence about knowing yourself and who you are. And I'm zeroing in on that because somebody that's listening might not be there yet. You know what I'm saying? In terms of not being able to stand confidently in, well, I actually like listening to this versus what you want me to listen to. So it's like, where do you think that came from? Did that just come from you being tired of being in that space? Was that people around you that were influencing you? Or, I mean, how did you get there?
I would honestly say for me, it really came, it's a journey. I've really learned that life is a journey. It's not a destination or something that you get influences from, someone else's life in a certain sense, but it's about taking your experiences and allowing that to set your path forward. And I think it really happened to me when I moved to DC, when I got out of being in the South. Being in the North, I mean, they say it's the South, but it's really the North. It's a totally different environment. And when I really started to travel even more abroad, I really got in more of an understanding of really what I found life to be about. Life is so much more than just what's happening in your small town or, what something bad that happened the day before. When you go and you visit places that are in Mexico and you go, sometimes to the richest of places and the poorest of poor, you really get a value for what you do have in your life. And you really start to appreciate more and more things that are starting to be, happen for you in life. And when I would say around 28 to 30, I really just was like, man, this is who you are. This is what you like. And this is the life you're going to live. This is what it's going to be. And if anybody got a problem with it, what's up? And things just totally took a different perspective for me there because I really started to grow an appreciation and infatuation for myself and really just started to hone in on what my talents were. Yeah, I may not be a lawyer like, one of my frat brothers, from 3 years ago. That's fine. That's not my lot in life. That's not my path. I have to be okay with my journey and the things that I have experienced in order to better myself. So once I started to really hone in and have a tunnel vision for my life and focus on self, I was really able to pull from myself and create my own happiness from within.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
That boy preaching.
Come on. I'm going to put him in A flat. Hey, man.
Get me right. Get me right and get me tight now.
This is awesome. I can, everything y'all saying is awesome, man. So
yeah,
I'm
a lost for words.
DeCarlos, you got anything to tag team on? I mean, you got some confidence too about you. I see you. You like, yeah. What's up?
No, for me, like, I mean, it was just like I said, growing up and just kind of, I think we all sometimes get like lost in I guess what you call it, a rabbit hole of music, and you just start to just like discover different artists. And another one of my favorites, like Pharrell Williams, he has worked with everyone across all genres. I'm a huge fan of production. I'm a huge fan of songwriting. So with him, when he started working with like No Doubt and Gwen Stefani or artists like that, I started to follow him. And from Gwen Stefani, I might have went to another artist, and it just basically started expanding. And like I said, I love it, man. Like when I tell anybody, like, who are you in love with? Music is like my heart. Like honestly, I live and breathe music. I listen to it every day. I'm one of those people. I go down the street, if my windows are down and I'm blasting music, if Madonna come on from Migos, Madonna's gonna be blasting too. Like I do not care. Like this is my time. This is what I'm doing. And I tell people I drive Uber and Lyft, and like the playlist I have that's going, like people are like, wow, like you really listen to everything, because it'll go from Yo Gotti to again, you know, Maroon 5 or Lauryn Hill or, you know, Missy Elliott or whoever. Like it's just it's really, really a beautiful thing, and some people really don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. I think having that appreciation can make you just a better human being, period.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's
I agree 100%.
There's a growth there, and a confidence, like you said, and being brave and whatever it is that gets your attention, what you gravitate to, what pulls you closer, whatever makes you a better person. And so, you know, don't even hide it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't even hide what you listen to. I love exposing people to something that they never would have even considered listening to. I'm the same way. And I grew up, I used to be that kid rolling down the street in that Honda Civic, bumping the Yellow Jackets. I pull up to people and they be looking at me. He has cornrows. He's young. What's he listening to? You know, like I never fit the description because I was, hey, this is all quality music. And I mean, I would even have Yanni. They didn't know nothing about that Pat Metheny. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, you young to appreciate that stuff. And I'm like, it's just good stuff. It's good music. And it makes us better musicians and producers.
Right.
You're not limited, because if you limit your sound, you limit your pockets, everything else is limited.
Exactly. You should not stay in, money isn't everything. You shouldn't stay in one bubble. Just kind of get out and just kind of expand and at least try. You know, you may be a hip hop producer and you may get a call to work with an alternative man, and it may not come out how you think, but at least you did try.
Correct.
You know, you're going to always kind of learn something from it. So that's the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing about it. And again, going back to the Nirvana compilation, there are so many people out there that are just doing like all this beautiful music and writing these beautiful songs, and they're just not being heard. So I'm again one of those people. I get on Instagram and I search for people, and I go look their music up, and I make sure they get, you know, the album purchased or get the streams or whatever, because if I'm liking it, I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna rock with it.
Rock with it. Rock with it. Okay, so listen, I want to switch gears for a second though, because we've been talking about music, but you know, there's some other things on here. Modeling was dropped and acting. Do tell. Okay, we need to know how you got into modeling, how you got into acting.
So
that's just AD, right?
Yes.
Yeah, not me.
It's been crazy for me. I've always had a desire to model. I've always had this vision of me walking in like New York and Paris Fashion Week, but I've always been told I'm too short. And so a crazy opportunity came about. I'm in the DMV area, and I was on Instagram randomly, just on social media. There's a stylist creator that I follow, and she was basically saying, if you do want to apply, you know, send your pictures in, create a comp card, which I had no idea what that was until like a month ago. And so I was like, you know what, with everything that I have really deduced from the pandemic, is go for it. Life is so short and precious. Why not take the chance? I'm like, you know what, I may not get picked. You know, I may not look like a typical model. Let me go for it. So then I had to get a professional photographer. Then I had to take professional pics. And I just remember I had a friend of mine. He's like an amateur photographer. His name is Adam. He took my pictures, and I remember the first scene we did, it was like a fitness scene, and he took the pictures and then he let me see them. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't know why you're so nervous. He was like, this is how you look. And I could not believe how I looked, because I was always a little, you know, self-conscious about my body and my face just growing up. I had really bad acne. So I've always caught myself in that mindset of thinking like, you know, I look like this. But when I saw the pictures and he gave me feedback, I was like, I can do this. Like, I can really do this. And I just need to believe in myself. And so ended up getting the pictures, working on the comp card. And then just more opportunities start to come in. And it really just gave me this confidence in myself of really just being like, you can do this. You can really put your mind to it, and really just, you have to have confidence in yourself first, because people feed off of your energy.
Yeah.
And I've always noticed that, especially something about myself. I have a really strong aura. And if I'm really positive and up and really energetic, it motivates other people to do the same thing. But if I am down and despondent or melancholy or in a fashion, it draws that from people, and people kind of replicate that. And so I really just started to believe in myself more and set forth that goal of like, you can do it. You're not too short. Wear taller shoes, whatever. You'll make it work. It'll happen.
Yeah.
But you can do it. So after everything that's went on with the pandemic, I've just really set forth my goals and just really started to push forward and just have confidence in myself.
Yep.
Shoot, that's, you know what I like about what you just shared is like, so first of all, you weren't actually looking, you weren't actively seeking out that opportunity. Like you had thought about it, it was in there, but then it just came to you, and then you reacted quickly to what came to like make things happen. I'm shoot, has that happened to y'all? I'm thinking of some examples for myself. I feel like those things do happen. It's like we have something that we kind of desire, like maybe, you know, a little bit or maybe a lot, and we're not actively like pursuing it. But then it's like something happens at the right time, and it's like, oh, like, you know, everything just opens up. It's like, here's the apple that you wanted.
The universe. It's the universe.
Universe, right?
Yes, sir.
And I feel like it just kind of manifested. It was just in a really crazy time right now, but I'm really just trying to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented before me. Because I'm normally in school or in work. Like my path has always been very structured. And so to be in a time right now where it's kind of, I'm having to create it, it's wonderful, it's splendid, it's nervous, it's scary, but it's worth it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool how sometimes you don't even realize it until it's already done. Like, so I had a meeting this week about something, and it was in hindsight that I came back home and I was like, wow, the meeting that I just had, it's like to a T, all of the unspoken things that I would want to happen right now related to this particular thing. I'm like, thank you, God. It's like, you know, he's just always working everything out. But anyway.
Timing is key for me. Yeah. Timing is key. But, you know, and I understand that, you know, we do need to sow some energy into it, but I like to just, it'll happen when it's supposed to, as long as I just keep doing something and let that stuff, you know, come back to the forest that, you know, of the seeds that you planted.
I like that.
That's very true.
What you just said, see, because it's like sowing. You know, sometimes it's like the sowing that I think that we're doing is just doing the right thing. Right. It may not necessarily be directly related to what, I don't know how to articulate it, how I see it, but you know what I mean? It's like sometimes when you just live your life doing things the right way, going about things the right way, that is sowing into those things, even though it's not a direct, like, let me sow into this very specific thing. Y'all feel me? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that goodness will come right back to you. You know, you're going to have bumps in the road, but you know, that's anybody, but that goodness most definitely is going to come back to you if you live right.
Some of those bumps are good for us too.
Yeah, it is lessons.
Some of those no's are, we don't know until time passes and we can look back and reflect and appreciate why something didn't happen.
Right.
And I'm like, ooh, I was going real hard on that and my feelings were hurt when it didn't happen. But I thank God that it didn't, because now it wouldn't be happening or able to happen had that manifested. So everything, no is not always negative.
Right.
Once I accepted that, a lot of things got easier. Everything, just because you want it doesn't mean it's good for you.
This is true.
No, that's a word. No is not always a negative. I like that.
Right.
I'm gonna take that with me. That.
That took me to delay is not denial. But see, I'm stuck on you got your feelings hurt. I'm like, you got your feelings hurt?
Hey, we all bleed red. And for us to try to pretend like we don't feel, that's another issue that needs to be tackled.
Right.
I don't, you know, I guess it's me being a Cancer. I'm sensitive when it's time to be. There's, you know, And when I say about feelings, I don't mean crushed. And it would be something to be, I like challenges. So, my feelings being hurt just made me like more competitive.
Right.
Not in a negative, like get back way, but like, okay, I will supersede. I will prevail. I'm not going out like that.
Right.
So feelings being hurt, it's necessary for your feelings to be hurt because it does something to you, really. It builds another, it contributes to that character that you need to end up being.
Right.
DeCarlos, I gotta go to DeCarlos now.
Uh-huh.
The light is on you, DeCarlos. Cause you know what? You got that big old Kool-Aid smile. Your smile it radiates. You feel me? Doesn't his smile radiate? But you know what? There's something about the people that got them smiles that be radiating. It's like there's some stuff there. You can relate to what Seats was saying. Did you when was the last time you went through something that was challenging that brought you back even better?
All the time.
Anything you can share?
All the time. Man.
If not, it's cool. But
I will say one thing. I'm really big on family, and sometimes we go through different things with our family members.
Yes.
And I'm one of those type of people. I'm really, really fair, no matter who you are, family or friend. And I'm just gonna give a piece of advice. It's fine to say no. Like he said, it's fine to say no. It's fine to get a no. No does not always mean negative. Sometimes you have to say no and not do things for family and friends in order to have your own peace. And that's something that I have learned over the years. So I will say that you have to say no sometimes, and you have to hear that no sometimes in order to get that peace and just kind of recharge and just collect yourself. So I'll say that. But yeah, Cease was preaching. I felt everything he said.
All right. Well, I thank you for sharing that little bit.
These are healthy, man. These are healthy conversations.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, healthy conversations. All right, speaking about healthy, y'all, what you got coming up? What's on the radar? I mean, what do you guys have planned to keep moving forward in a healthy direction, either in terms of the things you're collaborating on together or things that you guys are doing individually?
Okay. For us, we actually just wrapped and did our season finale for our podcast, For the Record. And we really just want to go back to the drawing board. We want to take things that we learned from this previous season and apply them so that we can improve and make the show even better. Because it was very interesting to me that it happened. I've never done a podcast before. Of course, Loso has. And so just for us to be heard in that way, and I've gotten feedback from people, saying what their opinion was of the show or how much they liked it. And then for us to find out we had international listeners, I'm like, God, there's somebody listening to us in Germany right now, like something like that. Like that was so just magnanimous to me. And so we really just want to take what we have created from that and really just improve the show. But we also want to add, philanthropic elements as well, where we're giving back to our communities that we're a part of as well. So we want to kind of figure out what we can do to kind of better the community as well. So hopefully we can get something done, even in the mix of COVID-19 as well. So I would say that for us.
Absolutely, 100%, man. Yeah, we just did our season finale, and that was that was, it made me feel away because I was just like, man, like we've actually completed our first season of the podcast, and it was absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to start working on ideas for the second season. We don't really have a date as of yet, but we'll keep everybody posted. And I guess like individually, what I was doing before the podcast, I would go live on Instagram every Sunday, do this thing called Self-Care Sunday. And just kind of like bring on a guest, and we would just talk about different self-care regimens, So I'm thinking about going ahead and bringing it back, since, the podcast is, kind of on the standstill right now until the next season. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely have to say, before I was invited to their show, I heard a couple episodes, and the energy that y'all do have, I'm not surprised it's international. And it's so funny. We never know who we are reaching, y'all. But the like, but it's up to y'all to keep it going and keep it started. Cause even if it's 1 or 2 people, you know, I mean, it's that those things go a long way. You never, we helping somebody out there, and that's just knowing that is enough encouragement to make sure that, you know, and it's dope to hear y'all wanting to upgrade the next season, you know, getting into it even further, delving into all right, let's, what else can we do? What else is possible? Because I mean, like, everything is worth the shot. So congratulations to you, soldiers. That's what I'm really trying to say.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We really,
congratulations for the record all day.
Yes,
sir.
congratulations.
Next thing you'll know, you'll be like, yeah, we on season 35 and yeah, that's it, you know.
Speaking.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna check out your self-care Sunday. Cause
are you still doing it, or
gotta have that self-care?
So I stopped doing it. I ended it in January this year, and then I started focusing on For the Record. Me and AD were working together. So now the For the Record season finale just happened. I'm gonna start back doing the self-care Sunday. So most definitely, I'll, you know, let you guys come on there and we can talk about just different self-care things. Last season we did I had lady come on talk about like abusive relationships. I had a couple of my friends coming on just talking about like how they're, you know, raising their families or how their marriages is working out during the, you know, the whole thing with COVID, because last year everybody went through it, you know, in one way or another. So, you know, I started it because I was just like, it's kind of like a check-in, see how people are doing, and just kind of like give feedback. And we can always learn something. Always. Never feel like you know everything, because you're guaranteed not to.
Correct.
Yeah. AD, you had something?
Oh yeah, I guess for me, as I mentioned before, I'm in a whole different space right now where I'm having to just kind of restructure my life and realize there is no methodology to everything. Sometimes it's okay to not know everything, and to find your path as it goes. And so for me, I really just want to take advantage of where I am in life right now. I want to be available for opportunities that present themselves and not be afraid to take a chance. And, you know, for me right now, that has involved some opportunities I didn't even think, you know, were necessarily possible. And that includes this podcast. You know, when we did our last episode, I remember him asking me a question of, did I ever think that I would be on a podcast or a radio show? And I told him the answer is yes, absolutely. I've always been told I should do something like radio or hosting, but I didn't know how to start. I didn't know what to do. I just knew I wanted to do it. And so for it actually to be coming to fruition, I just feel like 2021 has literally been my year, particularly for things just coming to fruition of things that I've always desired. So I just want to take advantage of the opportunities and really maximize on them.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that really, really is. I do want to say one thing, and I haven't mentioned the AD yet, but I really want people to go listen. I want everybody to go listen to our podcast. Absolutely. There's 15 episodes. But the season finale is just really, really special to me, because what we did is we talked about music, but we ended up interviewing each other and asking each other questions. So it's very, very interesting for people who want to know things or want to get to know us on a deeper level. Check out that episode. It's really, really good, and I've been getting some really, really good feedback about it, because we're just basically, you know, being transparent, opening up, and just. We're still keeping it in music, but you get to know a little bit more about me, a little bit more about AD as well.
Tell them where they can find that.
Yep.
Okay. So you can follow us, of course, on Instagram at For the Record Podcast, and the 4 is actually the Roman numeral, so it's the I and the V. And the link is in the bio. We go through Anchor, so it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Amazon. It's pretty much everywhere. You can follow us on Twitter as well at For the Record Pod. To listen, like I said, it's 15 episodes, man. We had Seats on the episode. We had a couple of our friends on the episode. Seats, I had Smoke on there. Smoke was on the episode the week after you. Yeah. So yeah, man, it was a really, really great experience. It really, really was.
For us to be having Grammy Award recipients talking to us even now. I mean, I told my mom and she was like, what? Like what? Like out. And I just couldn't believe it myself. But I mean, it really just speaks to the power of when you speak things and putting things into the air and it manifests. man. So it was an incredible honor, seriously, to interview
That's
C,
word.
Smoke, my Aquarius brother Smoke, man. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
it really,
man.
really was.
We all need each other. That's one thing I want everybody that's listening and watching or whatever. No matter what we're good at or what we're into, at the end of the day, when we come together and bring our energies and talents and gifts together, it's more powerful, and
Right.
we can reach out and help more people that way, as opposed to trying to get it by yourself. That's exhausting anyway. You shouldn't even want to do everything by yourself.
Exactly.
It makes you a better person the more people you get to deal with.
Yes.
And so I'm like, this stuff is just, I like throwing a ball to y'all, and y'all throw it back, and we throw it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it should be, that easy.
Exactly.
That's some great
That's
imagery right there. Throw that ball.
Throw that ball.
Throw that ball. Throw it.
I gotta put it.
Y'all need to throw it up the faith stairs too, because AD was talking about how he moves in his life, and I was, how they say, like, faith is like when you just see the step appear, like right before you take it. It's like you don't see the whole staircase. You just have to keep stepping, knowing that it's gonna come up underneath you. Yeah. And that's what it is. That's how we move into those greater levels and move into those areas of things that we want to see and what we want to do.
That's very true.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll throw the ball up the invisible stairs. But y'all, you can tell we getting ready to wrap it up, because I'll start to get silly on y'all.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Anybody got any last things to say? Y'all all went silent.
Follow us on Instagram. Like I said, follow us on Instagram. Stay tuned for season 2. Go back and listen to season 1. If you have not heard it, we're actually thinking about, we haven't decided, we're thinking about doing like a reunion episode, something like this, kind of bringing people back. And I think that'll be really, really fun. So, and just kind of talk about different things during the season. So yeah, man, follow us. And again, man, we both appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm gonna go back and listen to that final episode where y'all are interviewing each other. But do that reunion. Do the reunion, because I've already started planning something for us for our reunion for all the people. So I think it'll be dope. Cool. So exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Y'all be back. Hopefully we can get them back.
All right. See.
Come on now. You already know seats.
Right on.
All right, y'all. Well, shoot, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us and to share with us and to give us a little something for all the people to be encouraged. That's dope. That's what's up. I love what you two are doing together.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Believe in yourself. Once you start believing in yourself, the rest will follow.
Correct.
Yes. All right, so we're going to wrap up, y'all. You have been listening to For the Artist. Today we have had on AD and DeCarlos. I've been one of your hosts, Melissa Sharee.
And I am your other host, Mr. Eric Seats. And if you would like to donate to this beautiful podcast, you can do such a thing at creativemprojects.org. It is a 501c3 tax-exempt organization. Any donation to be appreciated. Also, what we need to start doing is if you would like to be a part of this, where's the email that they can email us, Melissa?
They can email info at creativemprojects.org. You mean be a part of what the organization is doing or be a part of the podcast itself? Because you can also do that. You can just go to the website. If you go to creativemprojects.org, there is a page on there that says get involved. Y'all get involved. Okay, we got some good stuff popping. Hey, I like the backgrounds. So you can sign up to be a volunteer. You can sign up. You can nominate somebody or nominate yourself to come on to the podcast. There's so many things, y'all. That basically is our point of contact. Go to the website, creativemprojects.org. Boom, drop the mic.
Yeah, I heard her. Period.
Period. All right, y'all. Until next time, we want you to keep creating from the inside out. Thank you, DeCarlos and AD.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.